Okay, so good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, avatars, AIs. Just want you to know that I'm actually a real human being. And AI for me means average intelligence. But I have a superpower. I'm going to share with you my superpower, and hopefully it will touch you in the right place. My superpower is, in spite of the world trying to keep me down, I can keep getting on and carrying on. What I'm going to talk to you today about is something we call resilience. Bouncing back when your bounce has gone. That's great. It works when it bounces. It doesn't bounce too well because it's an old one. But it works. But take your bounce out of it and it's useless. It can't function in its work. Take the bounce out of us and we can't function in the world. And there's a lot of things out there that are doing their best to take us down and keep us there. If I speak to people, and if you're all honest, none of you can tell me you don't have wellness nuggets when just getting out of bed is a major, major achievement because of things in life came. So we live in a world that doesn't always warn us about what's coming. Things are going great. And suddenly out of nowhere there is this monstrous storm comes and takes your feet out in Hungary and you're down. And the first thought is, how on earth am I going to ever get over this and get out of this? Your second thought should be, I'm going to, or I have to. You get a phone call, you get a piece of news, something happens that you say, I cannot take any more of this. I'm going to tell you a personal story very quickly. About 15 years ago, I had an indigestion. So I went to the hospital. The hospital said, no, you have a heart attack. I said, that's cool. I don't have heart attacks. I'm healthy. I'm fit. Now you're having a heart attack. So after fighting with them, they sent me to Steve Beaker because I did have a medical. And I went there and they wanted to do an angiogram. And so they had me strapped out, crucified on this table. And there's a screen. And there's these three intelligent professors. Yeah, no, that one's gone. I think we're looking at triple bypass here. Now, it's not the way you want to hear that news. You know, if somebody wants to tell me I'm near death, I would like them to have a little bit of compassion. But anyway, I came out of that little room hearing I have to have a triple bypass. First thing I did is I went back to the room that I was in. And I said to my creator, this is not fair. Why can you do this? The one thing I think I've done right in my life is to stay healthy, to avoid this. The one thing I've had in control has been my lifestyle. And I heard this voice say exactly, you had it in your control. Well, I just want to show you this really in control. And from that moment on, I had absolute peace that I wasn't going to do it. Everybody in the staff thought that I was going to die. I could tell by that attitude. But I knew that I was going to be fine. And it made such a difference to the way I acted afterwards, knowing that. Other people I saw there, they were crawling around on their hands and knees. They wouldn't go near a staircase because triple bypass. I wouldn't go near the lift because I had a triple bypass. and you need to stay healthy. So that was mine suddenly, that point in time. About 15 years ago, I think. Since then, I've been as healthy as can be, and I don't have to worry. But the first feeling is terrible. Deflated, overwhelmed, all those things. Unsure what's going to happen tomorrow. And it seems like there is no future at all. And then we're down on the floor. The first thing we've got to do is start getting up. Because if we stay down, we're dead. Dead people lie down, don't get up. So we get up, we manage to stand. And then what we have to do, and because it's hard, I'm going to ask you to, but we all have to start bouncing. And if we can bounce back and we can get going. But it's an active physical process from your head down. You're not born like it. We're actually not born to overcome this. We are born to say, because it's safe. Human beings are created to stay in a safe space. And as soon as we want to take action ourselves, we move out of that safe space. Who catch this? Thank you. So, do you know this character? How many of you have seen Ice Age? Movie. That's Fid. Fid is a hyperactive, smelly, green. His eyes north and south at the same time. He's not the most attractive. And the rest of it, I enjoy it with my speakers. More so than the good ones. I'd rather be the boy. But Fid, he's got one superpower. He doesn't understand rejection. You can't reject Fid. Because Fid can't have it back. And I love that character. I love those movies. But he has got it's such a thing that says, what do I need to do when things aren't going right? I spent an hour and a half this morning preparing for this afternoon by being fit. Because I like fidding around. Do you know this character? Did anybody ever see the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks? Yeah. That's Tom Hanks. That's not. That is Wilson. Do you remember Wilson? Can we see Wilson? Next one. Next one. Thank you. That's a glass. Just want to see if you're with us. That is a glass. But if you are like a glass and you fall, you shatter, you break. You cannot bounce back if you're fragile like a glass. You've got to find your strength. You've got to find your bounce. Bounce is flexible. That is a deflated beach ball. That is a fallen, deflated beach ball. No change, but it can't bounce back. It's got to just stay there, useless. That is Wilson. Wilson has bounce. So when we go away, I want you to put on your t-shirt, Wilson. Call me Wilson. Wilson, because I bounce back. And it's a choice. Everything in life is a choice. There is one thing in life that we can control. We cannot control circumstances. We cannot control things that happen to us, but we can control our attitude to the things that happen to us. And that is a choice. Today I put before you life and death. Choose life. We choose to go on, we choose to get up and be better. Here's the truth. That moment of the bad news is not the end of your story. My triple thingamabob was the second event where I was supposedly dead. 1998, 21st of September, 31st of December, I was attacked by a pack of dogs, 2 pit bulls who were attack trained, and 2 mongrels that were just on for a while. I went out for a run, and I was messed. I was on the road, and I just said, help me. And along came a red van. The driver said he's thought it was a blanket being dragged down the road by these dogs. They got me in the van, took me to Sunnydale Hospital. I'm on a slab, a stainless steel slab. Very quickly, dying. I was in shock from passing out. I was told 3 times that day by various people, sister, surgeon, anaesthetist, that I was a miracle. I enjoyed that. I like being a miracle. I want to be a miracle. But it was one of those moments. I was in the hospital, I think, for a week. I was stoned out of my bracket for most of that time. My daughter used to come and visit me, and she'd say, it was quite funny because I'd be talking and then suddenly I'd go off. And a few minutes later, I'd come back exactly where I'd gone off from. But it was one of those moments. It took me a while to get over it. And I left a few body parts on the road. But I was able to carry on with life as I needed to live it. So I'm just saying, whatever the moment is, it doesn't have to be the end of your story if you approach it in a positive, right manner. And sometimes that is difficult. Just hands up, how many of you have ever felt that things can't get any worse? Most of the time they do, right? Just when you think it can't get any worse, sharp 4 or whatever it's called, draws 4. Resilience is not avoiding the fall. You cannot avoid all the falls, but you can choose to get up. That's a choice. Some days I don't make that choice. I struggle around all day feeling sorry for myself. We all need a dose of self-pity from time to time, but don't let it drag on. It's not a permanent place to live. It's a place to get your back to you. Failure doesn't happen the hundreds of times we fall. It happens the one time we don't get up. You only fail once. Falling isn't the problem. It's not getting up. And we need to use whatever we've got in us to get up. It doesn't mean we don't feel pain. It doesn't mean we stay strong. It means that when life knocks us down, we find a way to get back up. And the first thing resilience asks of us is honesty. I have to honestly say, I feel like that. I really don't feel strong. I don't think I can handle this. I have to be honest because I can't work. My creator can't work from a place of dishonesty. I need to be honest with me about how I feel. I feel tired. So lie down and sleep. I can't handle it. Honestly. So I want to talk to you about the 5 steps of balance. For those who want, I've got this presentation I'll send you afterwards. And I've got details about this. I won't go into that. Allow yourself to feel. When something bad comes and slaps you from the side, allow yourself to feel. Feel sad, feel angry, feel frustrated, but also feel strong. I've done this before. Do it again. Have you ever ridden a bicycle, anybody? Have you ever ridden a bicycle up a hill? Have you ever ridden a bicycle up a hill and thought, I'm going to try and avoid this all the next time round because it's but then you find you can't get anywhere unless you go up that wall. So you manage anything. Allow yourself to feel and confront it and overcome it. Shift to gratitude. Isn't that great? There is not a thing that can happen to you, not one single thing, where you cannot find something to be thankful for. Not thankful necessarily for it, but thankful about it in those circumstances. Gratitude. How often do you say thank you? Thank you. Thank you. I'm pleased that happened. Really. Step 3, look for the next small positive step. I'm a great person for incremental growth. So, a goal, many people, they take goals that are huge. And they stay there and say, well, do there and take that step. Because I can do that today. Then I take that step. I can do that. Slowly, I'll go further on, further on. Small positive steps. 1% a day growth adds up to 37% at the end of the year. Wow. How many of you are athletes? How many of you go to gym? How many of you have ever bodybuilding? Do you know how a muscle grows? It doesn't grow because of pumping iron. It grows to compensate for the pumping iron. Because it says, oh, this is going to happen to me every day. I'm going to have to do something, otherwise it will be destroyed. So you get that minuscule amount of growth every day. But over a period of time, you end up like on the short one, you don't necessarily. Because not all of us have got that in us. How old was I? 15 when I started doing that. And I'm the same age as Arnold. He was the one that was out there. And I had a trainer, he did nothing in those days. My trainer worked me to death on Arnold's workshops. I ended up like this. I was like a guitar string. Instead of winning trophies, I had nervous breakdown. And then I realized it was the wrong thing for me to do. I needed to train differently, and I would have had different results. And over the years, I learned that. But the small positive steps, one step starts you off in the good direction. The next step, and I worked with a guy once who said, just in your life, whatever it is you're doing, focus on the next step. Because the next step, if you take it, maybe the one that takes you to where you want to be. The next step, if you don't take it, may be the one that you didn't take that stopped you getting there. And I'm talking to people in business, I'm talking to people in health and life, and I'm saying whatever it is you're looking for, don't stop taking the step until you decide that this is taking you nowhere. But then have a new direction where you can take those steps into. Am I getting through to everybody? Does anybody relate to this stuff? Or am I an AI? I think there's a thing around called SI. I call it stupid intelligence. And I've run into a few of those in my life. Step 4. Practice self-compassion. You know what happens when something goes wrong? The first thing we do is blame ourselves because it went wrong. We beat ourselves up because life happened. If I hadn't gone for a run that morning, I wouldn't have got attacked by the dogs. If I'd have given the dogs the book to read and I read, they would have understood how to act. Didn't run away. You know, it's do that. We have this self-flagellation thing that says it will get better if I beat myself up. Self-compassion. Do something in that circumstance that helps you to feel a bit better. Even if it's just not getting out of bed like that. Step 5, decide to keep moving forward. Choice, 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 choice. We decide to keep moving forward. It's a decision. Have you ever looked at endurance athletes? You look and think, how can that person run 100 miles? But you look at them at the end of that 100 miles, the long before, and they are just in their mind, they are keeping going because their body will do other things. You have to keep moving forward. Hope, determination, and faith. Finally, and I left it to last because it's one of the most powerful, I think. Never underestimate the power of prayer and trust. Not because you're expecting miracles, but because prayer and trust in us peace in our hearts when answers are not clear. And they are an anchor when everything else feels uncertain. I'm not saying who you pray to. I know that everybody they have trials on prayer. And people who pray in a circumstance do feel better and their body responds in a certain way. So, never forget, you're stronger than this moment. Because I'm nearly finished. So you haven't got much longer. You are unfinished. I will not second. And you will rise again. You have to believe that. It doesn't matter where you feel you are. You will rise up. Maybe not at the place you wanted to. Maybe not at the place you wanted to. But while you've got breath in your body, while you've got hope in your heart, while you've got a goal in your head, you will rise. The tragedy is those people that fall and decide to stay down. It must be the lousiest form of suicide there is, because it drags on and on and on. So, act now. There is no time like the present. I'm not just wait until I'm finished, but then you can go off and tell about this. And if we wait for things to be perfect, we'll be waiting forever. And it's part of the trap we fall in. Because we hit this obstacle. Okay, I'm going to solve that. That's not what I get. It's not what I want. It's not what I want. Perfection isn't ours. Excellence is. Excellence is every day, every moment. I must do the best I can with what I have, where I am, at that moment in time. Today may be better than yesterday, or it may be worse. But I can't do better than best. You can't do better than best. It's good, better, best. Not best of all. Best of all, best. It's good, better, best. That's what we do. And so when you're down, push, stand up. Use everything in you to balance. See how the world changes around you. How many of you are bouncers? I'm not talking about the guy. How many of you feel that you're bouncers? Hey, I like you. All right, stand up. Stand up. You've learned the group up. Now we're going to do a group bounce because I think it's so powerful. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you know, no one takes it. Thank you very much for listening to me. What I would like you to do as a means of perhaps getting into the whole idea of network. I want you to take the person on your right, not take them physically, but take them slowly. Ask that person to tell you one thing about them that you probably don't know. Because the best way to network, the best way to get involved with people is by finding out about them, asking them about themselves, listening to them. We're so busy with us. We need to get busy with others. Then we network. And thank you. My superpower is bouncing.